I want to address a couple things, starting with the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation. This year will mark the 20th anniversary of the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation. I've been having extensive meetings with the foundation, looking at ways moving forward in producing and providing affordable housing and social housing to the people of St. Martin. Looking back at the past 20 years, there has been some ups and downs, some lessons to be learned. In the past previous years, there were some negative publicity surrounding the foundation. At the moment, there is new management, and we are looking on ways on government assisting the Housing Foundation in moving forward in a positive manner. Government, in extension, the Ministry of ROMI, is assisting the foundation in different ways in providing policies, housing vision, and so forth, in providing subsidies to assist individuals in the lower bracket, to assist them in subsidies to pay the monthly rent, and also providing property for development. Two areas we focus on our discussions. One was the sales program, and the other is the future plans of the foundation. Currently, the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation is in the process of selling 2 newly built homes in Belvedere to existing tenants. I was privileged to have a tour of those newly constructed homes, and I must say I was very impressed with the level of the quality of work and the finishing, and at the price that those houses will be sold. In addition, 6 additional units will be constructed by the foundation for the purpose of selling as well. The objective of the sales program is to increase revenue, which aims to enhance housing opportunities for the socio-economically weak in society with affordable and safe housing. Residents will have the opportunity to acquire home ownership at a low cost. In discussion with the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation, they have indicated that tenants have the first preference in all the sale programs, thereby allowing others on the waiting list the opportunity to obtain a subsidized rental home. We also discussed future plans. One of my concerns was with the existing homes in Belvedere. The maintenance of those homes is, some of those homes are in deplorable state. And in discussions moving forward, how can we create a structural maintenance programs to upgrade those houses? It was indicated that in February, there is a plan to kick off a structural maintenance program where complaints filed by tenants, those will get first priority, the urgent cases. There were some repairs done in 2015, about 80% of the homes them. Some repairs was executed with roofing and gutters and so forth. This year, 2016, they plan to maintain and do maintenance on homes on the Anna Hope Estate Road and homes on the Belvedere Main Road. This will include the interior and the exterior of the homes, paintwork, replacing of windows, etc. And they also plan to beautify the entrance of Belvedere. Seeing that funds are limited, the capital expenditures and for structural maintenance, it needs to be done in a phased manner, and they plan that every year a section will be executed where maintenance is concerned. Also, in the near future, it is the plan to the Foga property to provide that to the Housing Foundation, to transfer that property to the Housing Foundation for the purpose of the development of affordable housing. The concept of that project will be lease to own, where potential buyers are required to make a 5% down payment. Monthly payments will be made, and in approximately 3 to 4 years, the balance will then be paid through a mortgage at a bank of the at the choice of the person that will be purchasing the home. There was also senior homes to be developed with the funds that will be required from the sales of the homes. They will invest that in the construction of senior homes in the Belvedere area. So looking forward to a very productive working relationship with the Housing Foundation. And there are plans, the new management that is in place now has a very different approach than the previous director, and looking forward to a fruitful and productive relationship where that is concerned. On another note, it was discussed some time ago that the previous government was in the process of a deal with Tessie, that's a sister company of the Housing Foundation, not the Housing Foundation, excuse me, the Port Plaisance. This government reversed that decision, and the Kim Sharp property, which is designated for public parking, we retracted that decision, and recently terms of reference was published in the newspaper to go ahead and provide public parking for that area. I was made aware lately that Tessie NV has placed a lien on the property. It is my intention to proceed with the development of the parking lot in the Kim Sharp property. And I want to make it clear and pursue the avenue that any obstruction to the development of that property where the previous minister for, I would say, reckless conduct can be held liable for any obstruction in blocking the efforts of government in executing the intention of government then where public parking in that area is necessary. The way it was done and the reason it was retracted, I will explain that again. The area is zoned for public parking. Government can, of course, change that if they so desire, but the way to do that is through Parliament. The only way to do that is through Parliament. And by sending a letter to the company indicating that we will give you the land, it's zoned as parking, you can develop a resort there, and later we will go through the procedure of changing that. That is risky in terms of if the majority in Parliament indicates that that is not the desire to change the purpose there, then government probably will be sitting with a lawsuit at hand. So the whole process it went backwards. You first go through the process of changing the purpose of the property, then you can transfer the property, and not transfer the property and then try to put government in a corner where that is concerned. So those are the two issues. My intention is to proceed with the development of the parking garage, and I will look at all avenues where the previous minister can be held liable for where that is concerned.
I have three topics that I'm going to speak about today. Number one, there's a little bit of confusion about the progress regarding the construction of the new hospital. Some people believe that we've already received bids for the construction of the new hospital. That's not exactly correct. So what we have done, the first step, because there was no documentation already in place regarding what the design criteria for a new hospital would be. So really there was no explanation about what the technical requirements were, only some basic discussions about the number of beds that was going to be planned for. So the first step in the construction of a new hospital is to actually be clear what we want to build. And so the first package, the first bidding, was for an engineering firm that will design the bidding package for a turnkey developer to make a price to build a new hospital. So we received that last Friday. We had 4 companies who've submitted bids. Those bids will be evaluated by the building team, and they're going to be looking at a couple of criteria. Number one is local inclusion, because we believe that it's important that as much of the work surrounding the hospital comes back into our local economy. So the percentage of local inclusion is one of the factors that we're looking at. Experience in terms of construction experience, but experience also in building healthcare facilities is also a factor, and obviously price is a factor. So we've received those 4 bids, and we will have an answer to those firms by Friday. The idea is that once that engineering firm has been chosen, they will have 2 months to complete a bidding package for which a turnkey developer would be able to make a price, and that would be for the design, meaning the engineering design, the architectural design, and that would also mean the construction of the project, and also a maintenance program. The idea behind doing this is that we believe by making one legal entity responsible, that they have, number one, the incentive to make sure that the quality of construction is high, because if they have the contract to maintain at a fixed rate the hospital for a period of time afterwards, that they will ensure that the quality of construction and the materials being used are of a certain standard so that it does not come back to them as increased maintenance costs down the road. What's very interesting is, as part of the opening process, in other words, if you remember, previous government had contracted that they were going to just do this all with one turnkey developer, and nothing was going to be put out for bid. Already, we've received interest from a number of entities globally. We've received letters of interest from companies in Europe, in Canada, in the United States, India, and China. So obviously, our open approach is generating interest in the involvement in the new hospital. And as minister, I'm very pleased with the SZV and SMMC's approach towards the project. I think that the open and transparent approach is definitely working. And as we look at hiring a turnkey developer, again, one of the points to stress is that the level of local engagement in terms of contractors or subcontractors will definitely be one of the factors used in evaluating those bids when those do eventually come in. And I think those are scheduled to come in sometime in the summer. The second point that I wanted to speak about is the Ministry of Biasa and AUC has signed a partnership agreement. And this is very much in keeping with the direction that we've been going, that it's a small island, and we're looking for partnership as much as possible that helps us to build synergies, that helps us to bring talent, experience, resources in a coordinated manner. Earlier, we've signed a letter of intent with the French side in terms of cooperation, again, in particular with regards towards healthcare development, healthcare reform on the island. So we've signed an agreement with AUC, and this agreement formalizes the current relationship that already exists, But again, it puts it into a structure that I believe is a win-win structure. What it does for AUC is it gives their students, it gives their physicians an opportunity for training, obviously under supervision. And it also means that these volunteers can be utilized in our community to help us bring our costs for delivering certain services to the community down. One of those examples would be the project that we're working on in terms of preventative care. And this is the project that I've spoken about before, where we're planning on finally making proper use of the healthcare bus, the mobile dental clinic, and what other resources we have available, with the idea of going into the population and helping to detect chronic diseases or early indicators at a point where we can treat things by lifestyle choices rather than by medication. So we believe that this is the best way to bring healthcare costs for the country down. And not only that, this also helps to maintain a healthier population, happier population, which is, in the end, our ultimate objective. So the healthcare bus that we're looking at getting out into the community on a more regular basis is a partnership that we're working on that's going to be formalized soon, and that's a relationship between SZV, SMMC, VSA, and now AUC. The other benefit of the project is that as we're looking at developing our healthcare model for the hospital and for healthcare reform as we go forward, we find that we're, as sadly often the case, data deficient. So by getting the healthcare bus out into the community and doing screening and testing in the community, this also is going to give us access to data that will help us to better model our healthcare programs going forward. The third point that I'd like to speak about is we do have, unfortunately, our first Zika confirmed case in St. Martin. But it's unclear. We're still gathering details. The person did travel outside of St. Martin before being tested. So this is a distinction that I think it's important to make, that we're not sure whether this was contracted locally or if it was contracted abroad and then the person returned to St. Martin. So again, this is important because it's a big difference. If you got bit by a mosquito that had the Zika virus in St. Martin, or if you were traveling abroad and contracted it somewhere else. Nonetheless, the actions from the community are the same. Our focus still has to be on citizen engagement, has to be on elimination of breeding grounds, has to be on preventative measures, in other words, to make sure that we're not getting bit by mosquitoes and therefore passing the virus on within the community. So we've made good progress in citizen awareness, but I still have the feeling that in terms of really engagement, in terms of citizens being more proactive in their communities, in terms of eliminating breeding grounds, I think we can still do better, and those are things that the ministry will continue to work on. And those obviously include things like cleaning your yards. One of the things that they're finding very common is most houses have cisterns, and most of these cisterns have overflows, which is just a simple pipe that when the water level in the cistern reaches too high a level, the water can discharge. Those very often are not screened, and those provide perfect entry points for the mosquitoes to come into the cisterns, which are ideal breeding grounds for mosquitoes. We still see a lot of garbage along the road. We've sent a letter to VROMI asking for a cleanup campaign in St. Martin. The mosquitoes that spread the Zika virus are known as container breeding mosquitoes, meaning that they like to breed in the bottles and garbage along the side of the road that collect rainwater. That little bit of water that sits in the bottles, those provide excellent breeding grounds. So think twice about throwing your garbage outside the window. Unfortunately, I still see it on far too common a basis. We are in the process of securing another phone number, and I hope this will be done by the end of today or tomorrow. So the current number for reporting and breeding grounds is 542-2078, which I can never remember, which is why we've come with another number. TELM has been assisting us, and that's 520-CALL. So that will be linked to a smartphone, so that way you'll be able to send WhatsApp messages, you'll be able to send photos, and we expect that will be working within the next day or so. So that's 550-CALL.
I do have just a few comments to make before taking questions after from the media. In order to prepare your students for the FBE exam, I'd like to remind parents that it was decided to make the past papers available by the department, by the minister actually, but it is being carried out by the division exams. We have done this exam for 4 years, and after numerous requests by both parents and teachers, it is now possible for you to purchase these exams. These can be obtained at the Division of Examinations and will be sold in a package comprising of 1 copy of each test paper. Each package will have the test papers for Dutch, English, the general knowledge, and mathematics. The price is 50 guilders. For more information on this, you can contact the Division of Exams at 542-3296. A quick reminder, though, that this is not to take away from the fact that the exams are based on the curriculum and that the content of the examination papers are just a means of practice for the students, that the guide for the test will remain the FBE curriculum. So I hope to inform all of those who are interested in that that can be done. Also, in good news, I'm sure many are aware by now that St. Martin has a local hero on the international level. Mr. Casey Carty is returning this evening at 8 p.m. on Liette flight, and we together, Government of St. Martin, in collaboration with NAGICO, who has for years been the main engine behind cricket on St. Martin, we are collaborating to welcome Mr. Carty, and that will take place this evening at 8 p.m. The airport has made provisions. We are, of course, inviting the general public to attend and to show support for Casey as our first to make it to this level. As a matter of fact, it's the first time that the West Indies had made it to the Under-19 championship round, to the fact that we are actually the champions as a West Indies. St. Martin has never had a member on the West Indies team, and he now seems to be a prospect for future, for the senior team as well. So we look forward to seeing him continue to grow, and I believe that the entire St. Martin should stand behind him, because that's a positive light that's being shined outside into the world and will continue to do so. As he has been named man of the match in that, also in the championship match, this is an extra prestatia, extra success for him personally and for the country, and I believe we should all look for the opportunity to embrace this as a country, not only in sports, but in tourism in general. And I think this young man is now seen as a sense of hope for all other budding athletes on St. Martin, that it is possible. So there will be a small ceremony at the airport. The airport has granted the opportunity for the public to park for free from 8 p.m. until closing time, so that wouldn't be an issue. There will be a mini celebration inside before we come out into the open arrival halls. We will go in to meet him with dignitaries and his parents, etc. And then when he comes out, then the public will get the opportunity to hear a few words from him as well. To do so even formally, the government has made this hall available tomorrow at 2 for a press conference, which will be held with him and his parents, as well as coaches, Cricket Association, etc., so that the public can get to know him on an even better level. And then the culmination of all this will be on Sunday, where we'll be having a bigger celebration, which will start at the cricket field at 4 p.m. The general public, of course, is invited, along with several dignitaries, etc., the press, the media, where he will be presented with some awards, etc., so that we can celebrate him, and then there will be a motorcade which will leave from there and go into several districts. More information on this, of course, will be given in the press conference tomorrow.